All right, Sam. This is Sam Mollaei, and thanks for joining the Non-Stuffy Attorneys Podcast. And appreciate you being a guest with us. You are, yeah, man, very impressive looking at all the stuff that you do. And yeah, would like, I guess if you don't mind, give me kind of like a little bit of brief history on what you're up to these days and how you got here and all that fun stuff.
So 10 years into it now. Started my first law firm 10 years ago. Had to basically grind and learn and teach myself how to generate clients online. I got first fell into the world of SEO, and then I got into websites, then sales funnels, then Google ads, then landing pages, then Facebook ads, then YouTube ads, then TikTok ads, then automation, then ChatGPT, then AI, and now Grok and all that stuff. And I'm a lifelong learner and applier. Luckily, because I had these law firms, as soon as I would learn that day, I would go implement. And then luckily, about 5 or 6 years ago, I met my mentor who got me focused on what I was good at, which was the client generation. So I started rinse and repeating, creating the same systems over and over. Basically making sure that I could launch a law firm, make sure I could generate clients, make sure I have the team that could either serve the clients myself, or a lot of times I refer out these clients. And then once I see that it's profitable, it's doing its thing, then we go rinse and repeat that. And that became a very repeatable process. Last year, I had 7 law firms, had downsized down to 4 earlier this year. Now I'm back to 6 law firms that I'm actively, I'm either sole owner or shareholder partner in, that I actively am involved with the client generation side, the automations, building up the teams, scaling, bringing a lot of AI into the what we do, and just a very repeatable process. And then also going back before all this, I had a background of having a tutoring company. I used to be a tutor. I used to spend all my time outside of school, in high school and college, tutor other students. So I have a kind of like a teaching and kind of giving aspect to me. So about 5 years ago, when I started figuring things out for myself, I started talking about everything that I'm doing, just the same way that you do, Joe. And that ended up becoming a company called My Legal Academy. Then now we have about 25 to 30 people who are helping the lawyers set up these same systems that I've set up for my own law firms. They come and set it up for other law firm owners. And I think what sets us apart, Joe, I don't think there are that many of us that do what we do, because is we do things that we currently do ourselves. You know, we have actual law firms that we currently run. You know, we're not just talking things based on a marketer. You know, it's not, let me tell you how you should grow your law firm because I know how to grow my marketing company. No.
You see that. You see that a lot. You see that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the nuances and the challenges of running a law firm, especially with building up your teams and how you're going to find the lawyer and how you're going to find the right vendor that you trust, or, you know, how you're going to track things, all that stuff, the nuances is a lot of things that people miss. And, you know, everybody gives away the easy stuff. You know, you need to make videos and you need to generate leads, and it says all the stuff that's like at this point is pretty, you know, typical and, you know, pretty obvious. But the nuances, I think, is where the magic is made. And I think that's where me and you share to the world.
Yeah. Yeah. I think kind of on that point, right? Like, it's like, yeah, generate leads. Okay. You have to generate leads. Like, no shit, right? Like, you have to generate a ton of leads. If you're for any business, right? Any business is going to do well. You got to generate leads. But then how do you handle those leads? Right? Like, do you have the people? Do you have the system set up? Do you have, you know, the intake processes? Yeah, we made, you know, we set aside around 20% of our revenue goes to marketing. So the more that we've grown, the more that we can spend on marketing, right? And so I pump it up. And there was a point there where we had some like really big weeks, and I'm like, okay, just dump it into Elite, but then the infrastructure couldn't handle it. Right? There's like missed calls are getting missed, and it just was like kind of a shit show. But yeah, getting the right people set up, the right system. So what is your, I guess, what's your what do you suggest people do in regards to, say, intake?
So intake is a very systematic approach. Just a couple of weeks ago, I did a full training. I brought on my COO, who essentially just manages the day-to-day, but also for the most part focuses on the intake. And what we did was we distilled it down to like about 30 different things that are crucial, which included, number one was the tools. There were 5 specific tools that I think that it requires for intake. And I could actually try to bring this up instead of making it theory. The second one was the KPIs and the cadence. And the third one was the infrastructure and the team to make it possible. So let me just quickly go through that. I think it's worthwhile to go through this. So for the intake, essentially CRM, obvious. You need to be able to track the leads.
What do you like?
HubSpot for the robust capabilities. But inside of our program, we went and white labeled Go High Level, which is a very popular CRM. We basically create the workflows inside of Go High Level, and then we have the implementers who know what it takes to be able to go set up the workflows, set up the properties, all that stuff that's required. And what I found, Joe, is the best CRM is the CRM that you use. So It doesn't matter what CRM it is, as long as you have the implementers that could come and set up those systems for you and also manage it. That's the right system. But we internally use HubSpot. Second is you need a way to automatically bring the leads into your CRM. So usually Zapier will get that done. Third is you need a phone system, a virtual phone system. The top 2, in my opinion, is Alaware or OpenPhone, depending on how robust you want to be. Alaware, if you have a bunch of intakers and you're scaling up, that's probably the best option. And OpenPhone is if you have just a couple of intakers, that'll probably get the job done.
I've never heard of Alaware.
Yeah, very good phone system. Number 4 is
what makes it different between, like, say, we're using Ring Central. One of the big things is that it integrates with Zoho, which is what we use. What do you know? What's kind of the difference between the two?
Power dialers, automations, and tracking. Essentially, what it comes down to.
Okay, what's a power dialer?
Power dialer is you have a bunch of leads, you have 100 leads. You throw it into the system, and it's able to go and make calls as soon as somebody picks up. Then it connects you to the intaker.
Okay.
Yeah.
On that point, let's say, okay, we have four intake personnel, and they come in. They come in every day, and they have their call list. Right. It's usually about 100 calls that each of them needs to make that day. If they used a power dialer, does it call all 100 of them all at once?
No, just sequentially. I'll call them until the one person picks up. Then as soon as that one ends, it starts automatically calling the next one, unless if you take off the power dialer. But it's literally exactly what the name says, power dialer. The other aspect of it is just the tracking of the nuances of the tracking, not just how many calls and the duration, the missed calls, the drop rates. There's also some capabilities now of AI. It's able to analyze things. Also, they're opening up new services for AI phone answering services. They're going to be native in Alaware. Usually, you want to find the tool that is usually the most robust, that scales with you. So it really depends on where you are and where you're going to grow into. And then I would even recommend OpenPhone even more than Ring Central for just a couple of intakers. So I still highly recommend looking into that.
OpenPhone, okay.
Yeah. And then the fourth part of the system is Slack, essentially an internal communication tool. Not anything else, not Zoom chat, not Google Chat, not Gmail chat, any of those. Slack, the benefits of it is automations. So as soon as a lead comes in, our team, instead of Slack, the intake team is notified. If as soon as the client is signed up, our onboarding team is notified. There's a lot of good automations in there. And also it builds like a cool ecosphere of like people just hanging out, kind of. It feels like a team collaborative kind of environment, which we like. And then the fifth aspect of it is some kind of AI solutions, intake AI. For 3 of our law firms, we basically, as soon as the lead comes in, we have AI that's texting these leads, pre-qualifying them, screening them, and if they qualify, gets them scheduled with our intakers. So
And that's with texting. You have
that's
text
via
bot?
texting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not via phone calls yet. We're waiting for the right moment to be able to transition into phone calls as well. But right now, just the texting AI aspect is key.
Have you worked with the phone thing at all? The phone AI?
We'd rather not, because I don't think it's as effective as having an human intaker. So
yeah, it sounds just
AI,
a little bit off, doesn't it?
Yeah, especially
it's enough off. It's enough off where if I was talking, I'd be like,
You don't want to. This is like the lifeblood of your entire law firm, so you want to make sure it's done correctly. So not yet is my instinct. Maybe in a couple months, I would say it'll probably be a little bit more fleshed out.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And then the other aspects is KPIs. Essentially, I mean, I'm looking at a very detailed kind of thing, but KPIs, you got to track everything to the T. How many number of calls that are made on a daily basis, average talk time, obviously the number of signups. We track that on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And then your conversion rate, which we look at your signups divided by a number of qualified leads or number of bookings that are generated for the intaker.
So hold on a second. Yeah. So your intake, are they doing the actual sales too?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're taking it. You don't call it sales.
Not sales. It's screening, essentially. Qualifying, and if you qualify, congratulations. You qualify as a client. Let's sign you up. Most of what we do is litigation, not litigation. What is it called? Contingency.
Yep.
So, we don't have to necessarily sell you on whatever we're offering, but
you're getting them to retain you.
Correct.
So you're not collecting money up front, or do they collect?
No money needed to be collected up front. Yes, since we're just looking to send a retainer agreement.
Okay.
But still, we use overseas intakers for the most part for intake team, and even overseas intakers can also sign up transactional services, collect payments, do all that stuff as well. Mm-hmm. I've seen it all. I think the craziest one, everything is a gradient. The one on all the way to the right side of this whole gradient is like immigration. That might be the hardest one to potentially screen for, qualify, and sign up and collect the payment. And even for that, I've seen have a close friend who's an immigration lawyer who scaled up his intake team with rituals and it was me that convinced them that it was possible 4 or 5 years ago. In the beginning, he fought at me, and I'm like, listen, no, it's possible. It's possible. I've seen it for my own law firms with these things when I thought it wasn't possible. So if I went through I kind of pushed through. You just have to push through, and then you'll see that it works. And then now I see the end result of that. So once I've seen that, then my mind is anything is possible when it comes to intake. It's not, you don't necessarily need to have US based, so you don't need to have the person at your office who's trained under you, all that stuff. All that has been fleshed out, and I kind of now I'm into the anything is possible scenario. It's just about accepting it, not fighting it, and then working through it, work through the nuances, create the SOPs, listen to the recordings, train, build some training systems, all that stuff. And if you give it a couple months, all that stuff is completely possible. What you can do about who can set up your clients for you.
Yeah. What do you think? So here's our system, right? We have four intake personnel. We use Smith AI, right? You familiar with Smith AI?
Oh yeah.
You gave me a look.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I want to hear your take on that. But so we use Smith AI. We have a lot of we promote a lot for Medicaid. But with Medicaid, with promoting for Medicaid, no matter how much we tweak the ads, the landing page to be very clear that it's not just Medicaid, any Medicaid insurance, 75% of our calls are still someone looking for Medicaid insurance. So we finally,
I will use that to my advantage, by the way. We're going to talk about that too, because that could be used. Yeah.
Okay, good. So anyway, so Smith AI qualifies the call. Now they're only taking marketing calls. The main line, like someone called from our website, that comes straight to our receptionist. But Smith AI qualifies it, sends it to the intake team. Someone on the intake team does more of a qualification. If they're qualified, they then book them with a consultant that we have, basically a salesperson, who then does the consultation, tries to close the sale. If they don't close, we're then following up with them. We have call cadences set up. So tell me your thought on that process.
Whatever, I've been through so many different variations of all types of systems myself personally across my law firms. Also have a close partner who also his name is Hamid Cohen, who runs LegalSoft. He works with hundreds and thousands of law firms, so he has a lot of experience about hearing what works, what doesn't. And then I also have my own program, where I hear lawyers, we have masterminds, and we go through this. So I've seen it all, heard it all. And what I've learned over time is the less steps you have, the higher rate, the conversion rate. And you ideally want to have one step, one-step shop. So ideally, Joe, you want to cut that out and just have one level, which is your own in-house qualifiers, screeners, consultative signers.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
As soon as you do that, you'll send up double more clients, just like that. They'll for multiple reasons. The first person starts the relationship building. So every time you pass off, it's like you're throwing a ball to someone else. The ball could get dropped. And also you're not taking the time to build a relationship. I even have my mom, who's one of my intakers. I've seen her on calls. Like, she knows people by name. I mean, they call her, "Hi, Mimi." Like, they say her name. So imagine Mimi now has to send it off to John. John sends it off to Bob. Like, where's the relationship building? Versus now they know Mimi. So even when Mimi signs them up, a couple of months later, they're still, "Hey, Mimi, what happened to my case?" Mimi is about, you can send the Slack message and say, "Hey, John is looking for an update." So when you have that one person, you're able to close at a much higher rate, essentially.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
And the other aspect of it, you mentioned Smith AI. I built up my practice using Lex Reception and Lex Helper. God bless them; they're amazing, good companies, all that stuff. But I found
similar to Smith AI.
It's very similar to Smith AI, but I think Smith AI just happens to be a little bit more professional and more pricey. But regardless of that, once a light bulb went off that dedicated virtual intakers is the way to go. When I cut that out, things improved. You're able to scale with it, and then my goal, once I have the 4 intakers, Joel, is can I double it to 6 or 8 intakers and continue increasing the marketing and continue signing up more clients. But that's a whole different topic.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you do? What do you use for virtual receptionists now?
We don't. We just have the dedicated virtual intakers, full-time intakers who are taking on inbound leads. And also we collect leads through Facebook lead forms or TikTok lead forms or our landing pages. And then our intakers go and reach out to these leads right away. And obviously we have automations, texts, and emails that are automatically being sent to go to follow up.
So the intakers are they're taking the inbound calls, right? And they're also doing the consultation right then and trying to close them.
Correct.
All right. How many calls are you dealing with?
Thousands.
Thousands at least a month or a week?
No, thousands a day.
Get out of here. How many you got? How many intakers you got?
Over 150, 200.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is amongst the 6 law firms?
Across the 6 law firms, yeah. We're between 800 to 1,000 clients a month that we sign up. It comes out to about 30 a day. No, it should be way more than that. Yeah, way more than 30 clients a day we're setting up. Yeah, I know it's about 800 to 1,000 clients. So I guess, yeah, it is the 30 clients a day. But and then
Jesus
and then
Christmas.
but we have an overall like a 8% conversion rate across all this stuff. So that you could just multiply it, the 8%. So to just do quick math, 12 times 30. No, it's a lot more than that. 360. No, it's a lot more than that. Anyways, it comes out to the math is 8% conversion rate, setting up 800 to 1,000 clients a month. So, a lot of calls need to be made for that to be made happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then how about their follow-up when they don't close, when they don't retain?
14 days of, I'm actually looking at the cadence right now. Day 1, 3 calls.
Day 1 is after the consultation has happened.
No, the day that the lead comes in.
Okay, so a lead comes in, they fill out a web form, you're calling them 3 times that day.
Correct.
Okay.
Days 2 to 5 are 2 calls per day. And then days
this is if you haven't reached them yet.
Correct. This is just to get them on the phone.
Okay.
Which is big. That's like the first hurdle, just getting on the phone.
Totally.
And then days 6 through 14 is 1 calls per day. And that falls into the kind of like the new lead bucket. And after that, they fall into the unresponsive bucket, which has its own cadence and its own intake team. Usually like a lower level intake team. Part of this cadence is we give our best leads to our best intakers.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of like the giving best baseball player there, to be the third or fourth at bat.
How do you determine a lead is the best one? Is it kind of based off of like the form that they filled out?
Just how fresh it is, usually.
Okay.
Just how fresh. And also we pre-screen the leads. Usually we always ask every lead a set of questions, a set of multiple choice questions. And it's like a must. I remember when I used to like learn about marketing, we hear about qualification. You need to qualify your leads.
Yeah.
Qualify leads. I'm like, why do you need to qualify them? Just get them on the phone and see if you qualify.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So what we do is wherever we generate the lead, let's just say for us it's Facebook. Then on our landing page or on our Facebook lead forms, we ask a series of 2 to 4 questions, multiple choice, simple, ideally, problem-based questions to figure out what kind of problem that they potentially have. Sometimes we ask an SOL, statute of limitation questions. And we look to either filter through to people that don't qualify, and then sometimes even qualify the better ones. So sometimes we give the better ones that are more likely to be qualified, or ones that are at least proven to be qualified, to the better intakers, and then the ones that are kind of questionable to our second tier or third tier kind of intakers.
Yeah, it makes sense. Okay, so now you get somebody on the phone, you do the consultation with them, they decide that they need to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which is bullshit, but anyway, they need to think about it. So then what's your cadence for them?
But I don't know the exact details of how hardcore what the cadence is at that point. We just have a rule of thumb. We're usually very aggressive. We go for it. But I would assume then our intakers would schedule the follow-up meeting. Would be the ideal thing to do. Okay, no problem. When do you want me to follow up with you, or when can we have our next meeting? Try to get that scheduled in. And then just pretty much be in contact, and then at the same time, still be receiving those nurturing emails from us, so that we're kept in the loop, and we stay top of mind with them.
Again, we do that. We do that. One of the thing that's been like most successful for us from day one has been because we're transactional, right? And we're higher. Our rates are higher than everyone else in our area, right? We kind of separate ourselves purposely in that way. But the follow-up after a consult didn't close on that first consult. right, we're very aggressive with the follow-up after, right? It's like day 1, day 2, day 5, day 7, day 10, right? All the while they're getting text messages and emails, resending quotes, right? And then once they get up to a month, then we're following up with them monthly forever, right?
Yep.
So every month they're getting a call. Hey, any update on getting started? And we'll get business from people who we've talked to 5, 6 times, and then it's a year later, and they're like, "Yeah, okay, let's start."
For sure. I think it just comes down to you being proactive with whatever you do. And second is automating it as much as possible. And then third is just accepting it's also like a numbers game, honestly.
Yeah.
You can't close everybody. You have to know, what's your conversion rate, create a goal to improve it over time, but also just accepting it. You're not looking to sign up everybody. Instead, how can I go turn on the hose more? And, whatever that worked for me to be able to get that person, go get more of it, more exposure, and just go do more of it. Joe, we've scaled up our marketing we spend close to $1 million a month in advertisement.
I love that.
It's all online ads, nothing traditional. It's all spent online. But that started off with $1,000 a month.
Right. Yeah. So how do you allocate a certain percentage of revenue? Like how do you determine your marketing budget?
It's a very systematic way of thinking about it is what's the value per client? So what we do, a lot of what we do is referrals. So we know what we're getting back. So let's just say it's $5,000. So internally, we have to come up with a number. How much are we willing to spend to be able to make $5,000? Well, for us, man, let's just say at some points we could be comfortable spending $2,000, $2,500, maybe even $3,000. And also, obviously, we have to track the back end also. So like the client is signed up, well, from sign up to monetization, what's the rate of that? And sometimes we find out, there's a big drop off potentially from there. So as long as we're clear on those, we have a max cost per acquisition. And at that point, it's just a spending game. Where can I go to all the different platforms, starting with Meta, TikTok, YouTube, Google, Reddit, Quora, whatever ad platforms we could get our hands on to generate those clients that's below our threshold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where is of those platforms, where are you finding the most success?
By far, Meta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Videos the best?
Usually a mix.
Is that right?
Correct. The mix changes, basically we want a variety of different types. And the things change all the time. So you got to stay on top of the trends constantly every single week. We're pushing out 30, 40 different types of creatives, testing out different things. And I found over time the things are universal. Once you figure out one type of ad that works for one practice type, also works for the other ones, which is a competitive advantage for me. As soon as I see multiple ad accounts, I see one that's working. Okay, let's go replicate this with these words for this one. That starts working. And then that's also the good perks of our program. I shared those kind of things that are working. I have a Slack channel. Hey, this is working for me. Start setting this up for our members as well. But
what's your marketing team look like?
Pretty robust at this point.
Sure.
We have our core marketing team. Let me pull on my Google sheet.
So you have one marketing director, or
I essentially act as the brain behind the markeking.
So you're heavily involved in it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
For sure. And then I have essentially a marketing director under me. So I kind of act as a chief strategy officer and a chief marketing officer. And then we have about 35 people. Our media buyers, which could sometimes be contractors. We have 2 integration managers who are setting up all of our integrations, Google tag managers, landing page developers. We have a bunch of data analysts and business analysts. We have an internal SEO team. We have graphic designer, video editor, HubSpot developer, training manager. And then when it comes to intake, there's intake supervisors, intake managers, obviously the intakers. You have somebody who answers our social media messages and comments. call leader assurance, and yeah, a lot of it now, I would say, just essentially comes down to media buying and creatives, and then tracking, knowing everything to the T, exactly every lead that comes in, what's the source of it, so that we know for each platform which type of campaigns, ad sets, and ads is generating us those clients. And I think that's our competitive advantage against a lot of the competitors. It feels like a lot of law firms run ads and do things kind of blindly.
Maybe it's like a shotgun. Right? Like
shotgun, or they're looking at, the media buyers just looking at cost per lead, essentially. Oh, this ad is generating, a cheap lead, so they spend more money there. A lot of times I found that the best ad and that generates the most leads isn't necessarily the best ad that generates the most clients, and it's very kind of nuanced, and it's very counterintuitive a lot of times. Like this ad is generating us the most clients, but I wouldn't have known if I wasn't tracking on the back end that after a couple of weeks I go look, okay, this one generated 6 clients versus this one was only 2 clients. This is the unicorn for whatever reason, even though it doesn't look like it to me. I thought this for sure was this one, and this, the ad platform says it's this one. But yeah, the clarity on the back end, I think, is very, very, very key as you're just scaling to know exactly which creative and which source generate every single one of your clients.
Yeah. So that marketing team that you just mentioned, is that for all the 6 firms that you have?
Yeah, kind of over time, as these law firms are growing, usually you're going to have the 80-20 is going to play itself out, right? There's going to be 1 or 2 law firms that are kind of the unicorn. So I have my unicorn law firms that I started replicating over and over. And then when I was building up this unicorn law firm, I was able to have the resources to be able to build a really robust team. I could afford the right people at the right place. Probably for as many people as I have, I've probably terminated at least five times as many people to get the people in their seats, at least, if not more. So a lot of people have came and went, but over time now, like for the past year, we have such an amazing team, and it's kind of like it became a plug and play system. Just last week we just launched a new campaign that we never did before, and we brought on a referral partner into our Slack. So he brought on a couple of his team members into our Slack. Our team very professionally came and introduced themselves. Hi, my name is this, and I do this. Hi, my name is this, and I do this. And within a week, our 2 teams joined forces, and we're generating 100 leads a day these days. And we already got 5 signups within a couple of days of signing up. And I know the rates of these things. If I see that we got 5 signups within the first couple of days, that usually means a couple hundred clients within the next couple of months. Is the rate that we're about to go to. But what I loved about it is just plug it in to our Slack, and our team is just taking over. Somebody's setting up the integrations, the other person is setting up the HubSpot dashboard, and somebody's listening to all the calls. And, everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing without me necessarily telling them what to do. So it's beautiful.
That is beautiful. What about production staff? Attorneys, paralegals, what's that looking like?
So for the most part, again, we do the referrals, but we do have, I believe, 2 or 3 law firms that it's our own law firms. So we have a staff. For those ones, our model is a hybrid model. It's good to have the lawyer in-house at your office, but a lot of the legal work, the collecting the documents, a lot of the filings and follow-ups, all that stuff is done by VAs that are under the attorney or that are under the director who's managing the day-to-day. So very, very small core team of in-house surrounded by dozens of virtual staffers.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. You got My Legal Academy. You got all these firms. You got the marketing. I don't know how you sleep. Do you sleep much?
I do, but thankfully, through my mentor, I learned how to run things as a business. So I'm not involved in the day-to-day. I'm not talking to my team of 35. For the most part, I only deal with my partner, my directors, and kind of kicking back and being the strategy guy, the idea guy. Hey guys, we haven't tried out this. Let's also do this. Hey, let's optimize this. So I'm kind of like the brain behind the operation. Again, I'm not dealing with the clients. I'm not dealing with the prospects. I'm not dealing with the team for the most part. Allows me to kind of thrive in what I'm good at, which is the strategy and the brain behind it all.
Well, great job.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, okay, so when you started out, is this what your vision was?
Not at all. No,
Okay.
not at all. Yeah. When I started out, first of all, even before I passed the bar, I started questioning, like, don't even want to be a lawyer. Like,
Yeah.
I remember sitting at an employment law firm. I was doing discovery work, and it was my first shot doing a motion summary judgment. I'm like, what is this? This is not what I signed up for. And luckily, I fell into the world of being a law firm owner. So kind of it was the business side of law. And over time, I think I learned that it's, you want to learn about yourself, know yourself, and lean into your strengths. So,
So wait a minute. You were working for an employment law firm.
Correct.
Okay. And then when were you just like, screw this, I'm out of here, I'm going to open my own place?
So I was like waiting for my bar results, working at an employment law firm, regretting why I even went to law school. Got my bar results. Now I'm a lawyer, officially a lawyer, still working at this employment law firm, still hating life. Started soul searching, asking around, what should I do? And I basically, long story short, I got advice to basically go launch my own law firm. Went and launched my own law firm. And in my first couple of years, I still did everything, when it came to obviously the marketing I had to sign up all the clients myself. So I did the calls for like a year. Then I realized that my time is limited. So let me try to see if I can funnel leads in through funnels. So maybe I could close people through a funnel. So instead of, all the stuff that like we know about, send people to a funnel so they could watch a video of you. And then if they, watch a video of you, go get them to go book a call. So people would send through book a call. Then I'm like, oh, I don't have time to go, sit on meetings. So I hired my first person from that. And then I also realized that maybe I could serve more clients via email. So I started sending a lot of leads via email to be answered. But what I'm trying to get to is I went through all the different variations of running a law firm. Doing
so you're explaining is what percent of the attorneys go through when they start their own firm.
I went through it all, but I always made sure to adopt and optimize what I was doing. I didn't sit on my hand and do the same thing over and over every single month. I always questioned what I was doing and how can I do this better? That's what a lot of times when I hear, the different tools and things, I'm like, I've been through that. And I could tell you that tool could be used better like this, or maybe you don't need to use that tool, because I remember using this tool and I realized it's not really that important. But I always like to question everything that I'm doing to always optimize the status quo to be able to do it better, or a lot of times don't do it at all.
Yeah, I love that. That's exactly what we've had that philosophy since we started. Same thing. And too often I'll hear attorneys be like, well, this is how we've always done it. This is how it's always done. It's like, that's like nails on a chalkboard to me. I'm like, oh shit.
I know Elon Musk is a very polarizing topic these days, but I think it comes down to the first principles that Elon Musk brings about, which is, you're not limited by anything. You're only limited by, I think he calls it like Darwin's laws or whatever, Newton's laws. Like, but everything else is, imagine you're starting, blank slate. How would this ideally be done? So one of my first light bulbs for this in the legal world was funnels. Like, why do I need to sit there and explain the service over and over and over again? It doesn't make sense. And I mean, instead, let me just make one video that's very optimized, that I know exactly to say every word with, a lot of thought. And let me record that one video. And instead of people needing to talk to me, let me send them to this page that has this video that explains everything. And if they if they make sense for them to go book a call, you know. So it's
Yeah.
about like questioning why are things the way that they were, instead do it the ideal way that should be done, in order to save time, in order to make sure that you're living your life the way you want to, not the way that it should be. Questioning things. Don't just live. You make your own
Yeah.
rules. Life is short. Like, I'm not coming here like nobody's my boss. Like, you're your own boss of your own life. Like, there's no excuses for anything.
That's 100% true. Ashley and I, she's my wife. She's the managing attorney. We view that way in life. Like, I am 100% responsible for the condition I am in life, right? Good, bad, indifferent. I'm also responsible for the condition my family's in, the way the firm is, right? I am, and it's like you said, it is limitless. There's really the only bounds that are put are the bounds that you create yourself, right?
Absolutely. John, do you mind if I ask you a question? What
Yeah.
drives you to share everything that's working for you?
I love to help. Yeah. I've been involved. Well, first, give you a little bit of history on me. When I was young, I got into drugs pretty heavily when I was a teenager. By the time I was 20, I was pretty heavily addicted, and kind of woke up one day and was like, enough. This is done. Move my ass out to California from New Jersey, got my life clean, and I worked for a drug and alcohol rehab for about 15 years, and we opened several facilities. That's really where I learned business management, and marketing and sales and all that. Anyway, so since that time, I owned a CrossFit gym. I was a realtor for a while. Then I did sales here in Florida. I haven't really. I mean, CrossFit was helping, right? I really helped people in CrossFit. At the rehab, right? Getting people off of drugs and alcohol, and especially the way that we did, was a very holistic approach. No psychiatric drugs, right? The viewpoint was that the addiction was not an incurable disease. You don't have to be a drug addict for the rest of your life. You are in control. You're powerful as a being, right? Very, very different than the 12-step methodology. So when I'd see somebody come in to the program and they're like on death's door, they're literally like dying. And then 3, 4, 5 months later, they're like better than they were ever. It's an amazing feeling. So since I left there, I haven't really helped enough. And guess it was about probably a little over a year ago or so. I'm in the Facebook groups, estate planning professionals, maybe a couple lawyers on the beach, a couple of these other ones. And, a lot of our firm, we started in May of 2020 in an area where nobody knows us, right? We had just moved here and started out of the house. It was just my wife out of the house. 8 months later, I joined her. 2024, we've got 23, 24 full-time employees in-house. We generated just under 4 million in revenue last year. And to me, that's not that much, right? Like, I'm like, shit, we need to be way higher. But comparatively, we're doing really well compared to a lot of estate planning, probate firms. And I got into these Facebook groups, and I start realizing that we're doing really well, and I'm seeing questions in there that I have that are really basic questions to me, and I'm answering them. And especially a lot of the marketing stuff. We mail a lot of postcards. Okay, we mail about 60,000 postcards a month for our estate planning practice.
Sorry, at some point, do mailers is the letter better or the postcards?
Postcard.
Really?
A letter you got to open up.
Ah.
I don't know about you, but if I see if something comes in my mail and I'm like, this is a advertisement, I'm not opening it. It's going right in the trash. Whereas a postcard, it's boom, it's right there. They have to look at it.
I think you just
Right.
unlocked like a couple $1 million for us. Thank you.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. So we mail about 60,000 cards a month. Produces a lot of return for us, and that's big numbers, right? Like 60,000 a month is a lot of mailers. It really is. And we didn't start out there. We obviously gradually got up to it. But when in the Facebook groups, when I would say this number, people, oh my God. And so over the last year or so, I have people say, hey, can I talk to you, right? And I would talk with attorneys, and I'd meet with them privately. And I don't know, over the last year, probably 30 different ones. And they were so thankful of the information I was sharing, and I got such a high off of it. You know, I would end a call with an attorney, and I really helped him out, right? It's like some solo where he's got a paralegal struggling, and they're like little tiny tweaks. Okay, we did this, and this was successful, and they're like kind of light bulbs go off, and it was so rewarding for me to help. And then I guess it was in maybe December or something, I decided I was supposed to do another meeting with a guy. I said, hey, you mind if I invite some other people? And so I invited like the whole group, like the estate planning professionals, and ended up having like 120 attorneys join. And it was the same thing, I got the same kick out of it for me personally, because there was so much thanks that was given to me. So to answer your question, why do I give away all this stuff? It's probably selfish. It's probably for selfish reasons that I give it away, because it makes me feel really good, right?
It's not
Especially
mutually exclusive. That's the good part about this, right? Some people could hear that and be like, "What?" No, but good. It's good to be selfish in this regard.
totally. Yeah, I mean,
but some people see the world like such a black and white, like, right? But you know, a lot of people don't see the ends in life. So it's great, amazing. It's very commendable, very nice.
And and you know what? Some people would have said to me like, okay, well, these people are your competition, right? It's like you're helping your competition. I'm like, it's crazy. That's crazy. That's not limitless thinking, right? That's not an abundance mentality. Yeah. So there's plenty out there.
For sure. And the way that it works is the more you give and share, the more, right, the world opens up to you too. And you start thinking things on a higher level. That I always found, you know, and the things change all the time, you know. So by the time you're expanding it and even sharing it, sometimes there's already the next thing and the next thing, next thing. So, you know, there's no such thing as lack of giving.
No, yeah, and the more you're right. The more that you give, the more things come back to you, right? The more it comes back to you, the more that you help, right? Yeah, the more that you help, and whatever way I can. You definitely have to monetize it in a sense, right? But you can't just go away volunteering everything for the rest of your life, otherwise you won't make any money.
What's the
plan? What's the plan for me?
Yeah.
Well, we have the law firm, which is doing well. It's growing pretty quickly. But the Non-Stuffy Attorney brand, we want to make that a household name. And we surveyed. We came up with that tagline when we first opened. I read thousands of Google reviews, right? So from my marketing background, it was, you have to survey everything before you do marketing. You got to survey and find out what the buttons are. Otherwise, you're kind of shooting in the dark. So I read tons of Google reviews for attorneys and discovered there's 3 points, but the one point that really stuck out was that clients wanted they liked the attorneys who were relatable, down to earth, just like them, and they despised the ones that were conceited, stuck up, all that. So that's like, okay, they don't want this, they want relatable. And then we kind of discovered that the general public's viewpoint on attorneys is that they are conceited and they are stuck up. That's what even though it's not true, but that's what the general perception is. You watch these TV shows and all that shit. So kind of by dumb luck, I came up with Non-Stuffy Attorneys. My wife was in the bath. I went into and I was like, hey, what do you think of this? She's like, oh, I love it. Well, since then, that was like a catalyst for everything, because we are that. We're the epitome of non-stuffy attorneys. I'm wearing a sweatshirt to work. People are walking around in jeans and a t-shirt. We have a couple dogs running around. It's still professional, right? But it's not suit and tie.
Yep.
And most attorneys are that. They are relaxed. Maybe they feel like they need to be all buttoned up and very serious, right? But that's not really who they are. And that's not what the public wants either. So that tagline has brought us in a tremendous amount of business, right? It's on all of our marketing, right? We're the At Cause Law Office, Non-Stuffy Attorneys. And every day we get multiple calls, right? I called you because you're the Non-Stuffy Attorneys, okay? So not only does it help with the culture, but it also brings in business, okay? So what we're going to do is something very similar to what CrossFit does. A CrossFit gym someone wants to be at a CrossFit gym. They pay a licensing fee. They have to do some classes or whatever, and they can then call themselves a CrossFit gym, right? It's like North Shore CrossFit. Yeah, North Shore CrossFit or whatever. So we are essentially going to do that. Nice. Where attorneys can license the tagline and call themselves a non-stuffy attorney. We're not going to charge very much. The end goal is to get it broadly known amongst the public, where people are searching out for non-stuffy attorneys.
Nice.
Okay. Then I'm giving my whole business plan.
I love it.
Then
you can transcribe this and then go into AI and turn into a plan.
Totally. Well, I already got the plan already. But then once the public really knows, have our own directory, right? And the non-stuffy attorney directory.
Amazing.
And to build out those sites is a pretty big endeavor.
Sure. Amazing. Let me know whatever I can do to support you on that journey. And Joe, if you see any opportunity for me to be able to instruct or provide guidance about scaling and growing and automating, and also my focus the last 2 years has been a lot of AI. I live and breathe AI, and so actual application of it, not just theoretical stuff. Just let me know.
What are you doing with My Legal Academy? So someone is that like a big part of your attention as a business owner?
Not anymore. We have, as I shared, we have about 25-30 people on that team. About half of our staff is on the client success side. And these are either implementers that come set up all the systems with you, or they're coaches who, let's just say, oversee your intake and kind of advise you and your team members to be able to improve your metrics. And then most of my time goes towards the practical application of all these things. So, the actual doing of the law firm growth, and then whatever lessons and things that I learn, I share those internally with our team. And those exact systems that I'm currently, doing myself is exactly what our team implements.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, with the amount of staff that you have, someone mentioned it to me not long ago. We pay our staff really well, and he was like, look at what you've done. Right, we have people who came to us who weren't making that much money, and now they're making a very good living. And you're kind of doing the same in regards to look how many people you're employing. Right, you're helping quite a bit. You're creating quite an effect. It's easy. I think it's easy for people not to really look at it as business owners, but it's like as a business owner, you have the opportunity not to just deliver like a good service that helps, but also, okay, look at the effect that you're creating for the people that work with you and for you.
For sure. And our companies and our law firms, because we move so fast and we're scaling, no 2 days are alike. So that usually means, a lot of action and a lot of growth, not just for the stuff that people do, but actually them as a person. They're growing, the things that we're doing now, we weren't doing just a month ago. So people's skills is really advancing really fast. And then also we're all, I learned over time, hire doers, not talkers. Yeah. So we're just a bunch of doers, and that's our culture. Just a bunch of doers who move fast.
So how are you? Okay, you hire somebody. First, you don't know before you hire them whether they're a talker or a doer.
Last year was a lot of I didn't realize it was after fact realization that there were a lot of talkers that we hired.
Yeah. So how quickly once you realize that they're not, or how quickly do you realize?
I'm not in charge of the hiring and the firing for the most part anymore. We have our directors who do those things and make those decisions. But if it was me, it would be pretty quick.
Yeah.
Pretty quick. And for me, I'm very, very super instinctual. I have a crazy amount of instinct in regards to people and also the way that things eventually will end up. I don't know. It could be pattern recognition or whatever it could be. So I pick up on things a little bit quicker than my own peers, even my partners or my directors. So a lot of times I see it. If I can express it, I'll express it. And then usually it takes a couple of weeks or a couple of months for that, reality to hit. And then finally the director makes that decision. I'm like, if you would have just listened to me 2 months ago, we would have saved a lot of time. So I see that over and over. But again, I can't just always be the one to say it's not going to work out, because if that was the case, then I'll just be the one making decisions all the time. So sometimes I just have to, put on my hands and just say, okay, I guess if that's what you decide, then so be it. I have to play a balancing game.
Yeah, you made a little note comment there about making decisions all the time, and that was something that we put in. We actually wrote a policy on it, where it's about what executives want, right? What communication does an executive want, and it's about information, and it's not demands for decisions. And an executive really like I guess kind of like you, right? You have like these ideas, and then it's like, hey, implement them. I think that's kind of what I'm getting from you.
Yeah. For in our world, it's just about KPIs. It's just what are the numbers? Our main KPI is clients per month. So a lot of times I found, that there's some people who say a lot of things or also do a lot of things, but if it doesn't ultimately end up in the result that you're looking for, the reality is that the result is the only thing that matters. Nothing else matters. Not the amount of work that you did. The fact that you work 50 hours, 60 hours a week, beautiful.
If you didn't get the sign up, then
so
it doesn't matter.
So that happens all the time, and I deal with that. I hear a lot of things. I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. But it doesn't matter. What's the result? How many signups did you get? Whatever. What's the result of it? Did we grow, or is our company going down, or whatever that is? Over time, again, you got to take your clues. You learn as you go. And always question things and try to do things better on a daily basis. And Joe, if you don't mind, let's end with this, which is the topic that brought us to have this conversation.
Yeah.
Just posted in the Facebook group. Do you mind bringing that up? I forgot the exact
Were we
details.
were we talking about growth, right? Percentage of growth.
Somebody posted about. Um,
I posted. It was a question about what, because we grew by 88% last
oh
year.
yeah, yeah. There we go.
Yep. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not real sustainable, right? And then you came in and you were like, well,
It is.
actually,
It is doable.
okay. So
um,
tell me your thoughts.
so in my first 4 years, I remember I forexed. I remember I made $18,000 in my first year, then $80,000, then 360, then like about a million. Then I remember I went into a double stage, and now for the past 2 years, it has been like triple to quadruple, even at these stages. And it is possible. Again, that was what I was trying to share, is that it's all up to you. And then, but somebody came and said, well, is that the ultimate goal? Do you want to grow?
Yeah.
And my answer was, no, of course not. That's not the ultimate goal. Everybody should have their own goals, to eat, to what's the line, to each their own, of course, 100%, right? That's not the ultimate goal for everybody. Just my style is, I'm looking to, life is short. I'm trying to live an extraordinary life. I'm not trying to be an average guy necessarily. I'm trying to be extraordinary. Why? I have my own reasons. I guess for me it's just because I only have one life to live. Let's make it extraordinary, I guess. I move quick, just the way my brain works. I don't have patience to move slow and do things. So I move quick. I like being challenged. I like solving new problems. I love creating. So that kind of my personality lends itself to, growing fast, and it just makes it more fun for me. I can't imagine only growing 20%, 40% a year. So that's one part of it that I kind of wanted to express. And the second part is, just because you're growing that fast doesn't mean you have to work 40, 50, 60 hours a week. I don't. My schedule these days is, I wake up at 5 a.m. I go to my synagogue at 6 a.m. I learn in a class Gemara, which is basically like a scholar Jewish studies, from 6 a.m. to 6:40. Then I pray from 6:40 to 7:30. I get back home at 7:45. I have a 45 minutes of hardcore working. Then nobody's bothering me. I'm moving as quickly as I possibly could, delegating as fast as I could in those 45 minutes. Then I go drop off my child at school. 5 minutes away from my kid's school happens to be my gym. I mean, my trainer there. I get 45 minutes of workout. I get back home by like 10, take a shower. I get back to my computer by 10:30. 10:30 till 11:30-ish, 12, I work. So in the morning it was 45 minutes, another hour, an hour and a half of more work before lunch. Take a 30-minute of lunch, then come back to work from like, let's just say 12:30 till like 3:30. So that's like 4.5 hours per day that I'm working. Not 40 hours, but when I'm working, I'm working. I'm not on my phone. I don't have distraction. I'm on focus mode. So even texts come in, I don't see it, right? Yep. But I get to go to lunch whenever I want. If I want to, a lot of times, I step out in the middle of the day. I don't tell my team. I'm going on a trip. We're just literally, my wife just booked a trip an hour ago. We're going on Friday in 2 days. I get the control of time. So you can still have the balance with the growth if done correctly. If you watch your time, you're optimizing your time and your schedule, and you're smart about it. So it's not mutually exclusive. It's not one or the other. It could be done. Again, life is short. Whatever rules you create for yourself, the way you optimizing things, the way the kind of resources you tap into. If you're working on yourself, I have coaches. I just hired an executive assistant. All that stuff, I'm working myself at all times. It could be done. And then that just happens to be where I am now. I cannot imagine where I'll be next year. I'm probably going to be continue further optimizing this. God knows how I'm going to be working next year, or who I'm going to be working with, or where I'm going to be working on. But the fact that I know that I'm always optimizing things, knows that I know it's going to be different than what it is right now.
Yeah, man. I couldn't agree with you more. And I think it's like I feel like I'm on the same page with you. I think you kind of opened my eyes up a little bit with your comment, like. And even just talking today about limitless, right? Like,
limitless,
okay, if I decide I'm only going to grow 80%, that's
Who
probably
says you can't double it? Who
that's the
says
max. Yeah, but if I
no?
decide, okay, I
Joe,
can't grow any more than 80%.
I could tell you right now just one thing. By the way, I'll tell you to do it. You're in Florida, he said, Joe?
Yeah.
Want to just go hire a lawyer in another state and go replicate the same exact system in another state. You'll double it within 2 months.
Yeah.
Bam. Okay.
Yeah.
And it will be much more work. Same amount of work.
I could see that. For sure. Yeah. Well, Sam, man, it's been great. Love your philosophy. Love your attitude. Great job on the work.
Thank you. Same to you.
Great job. I know it's a lot of hard work, and but putting it all into place is you deserve to be commended, because
thank you. You too, Joe.
Yeah, for sure.
I love meeting like-minded people, and also long-term minded people. And I know I'm playing this long game, and I know you are too. So let's be in touch. If you can, it can be posted if there's any opportunities to be in front of your audience and share all this stuff as well with them. That'd be beautiful.
Awesome.